Good afternoon. I'm here with Mark Melsness of Spinnaker Property Management and Kathryn from Next Chapter, an organization here in our Tacoma community that helps single moms get their next chance at life. And Mark, as you know, since we're on his page, you're familiar with him as the leader of Spinnaker Property Management.
Howdy.
I am Jennifer Noreen, the behind-the-camera person, and I work in the marketing area with Mark and have for a while. So we wanted to go live because Mark wanted to bring attention to this great organization that Kathryn's a part of, but also talk about how he has, over time, begun supporting them. And I know that was a careful decision because I've been asking him for details for a while now, and he didn't give me any till recently. So I know that that this has been a really careful decision for you, Mark.
Absolutely.
So, so Kathryn, why don't you start? Can you tell the Facebook community a little bit about what it is that your organization, what the name of it is again, and what it is that it does and what you do?
Sure. Next Chapter is an emergency shelter, and we provide emergency shelter and services to pregnant women and single mothers with children who are experiencing homelessness in Pierce County. We've been doing it for about a year and a half now. We focus on we work with community partners, other shelters in the community, and social service organizations, and we get referrals from them. And we have a group living environment where the women come in and live in one house. And when we bring them in, first thing we do is look at their screening criteria, and we help them address their barriers to housing. We also focus on giving them the tools to become self-sufficient and help with better parenting skills and classes with that. Financial literacy is huge. We really focus on credit because some folks just don't have credit or they have horrible credit. And credit is almost more important than having an eviction on your record, having positive credit. So we go to work and we help give them the tools so that they can do it themselves. They write letters to their creditors. They reach out to their former landlords and try to, or collection agencies, and work with them to clear up their record, and then we work with them to find housing.
Okay, so what would be a barrier besides the credit and the just different life situations, sounds like?
Yes, different life situations. 95% of the women that we've helped are survivors of domestic violence, and unfortunately that some of them have criminal records. That could be a barrier to housing. Credit, obviously, or past eviction on their record. Those are issues that we see.
Main things that you help manage. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you also provide friendship and support and all of those other soft type things that people going through those situations need. And so, Mark, how did you come to know about Kathryn's organization?
Well, Kathryn and I first met in the residential real estate management world and quickly experienced that our passions in life align with each other. And then being what I do and what Kathryn does with Next Chapter about preparing women to go out into the world on their own to be successful, because one of the other areas that you didn't talk about is also employment.
Yes.
So working with the moms to create a resume and do mock interviews to prepare themselves to get not only their credit and their housing cleaned up, but to also go out and get stabilized employment at the same time. And when all that happens, now all of a sudden, those moms are our target market for occupants in the homes and the apartments and the condos that we manage. So what a great natural transition for Kathryn and Monique that actually manages the facility and the ladies to come to us to see what we have before they go out into the world as far as housing goes. So I mean, it's not that we still market it out to the world, but we give a great huge percentage of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's such a low vacancy rate right now, and so to have people like Mark and Spinnaker to work with and provide and understand that people need sometimes second and third chances, and we've given them we wouldn't come to Mark unless we knew that the women that we're working with are ready to be productive and be a good renter. So that's one of the things that we just cherish about the relationship that we have with Spinnaker and with Mark, is that opportunity to give these women, these mothers who are becoming self-sufficient, that opportunity to have a home.
Yeah, there's a difference, right? They do get to a certain point when they're ready for help and they want to make a difference, and they want to be different and live a different life and embrace stability, right? And
a lot of people just don't know how to go about doing that.
Right.
When you get into a cycle, or you're born into a cycle and you haven't had opportunity, and you just don't have anybody to give you a hand up, and we're here to give you a hand up, not a hand out. It's a hand up. We're here to support you, and we continue to support our mothers as they move out and transition into their own housing, and we work with the property management companies or the owners of the properties, and eventually their goal would be to own their own home, and we want to help them get to that point as well. It's a transitional period, and they are. It's also really important that they go to good communities, and Spinnaker. And what Mark provides at Spinnaker is exactly the kind of communities that we want our mothers to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. So how do you supply that assistance? Do you pay a percentage of their rent? Do you just introduce them to someone like Mark, or?
They work. That like Mark was saying, one of the things that we do is we sit down and go, okay, what's your employment path? Let's think about what's realistic, what can you do, and how can you become self-sufficient in the way that you can raise your family, and you don't need the extra support. Some people do need that for a little while, but then our goal is to get completely off any kind of assistance and be on your own. So we work with them to identify it's an educational path, or if it's a job, straight into the job market. The trades are a big industry and looking for a lot of work now. So we really encourage that as well. And so then, did I answer that question?
So if I don't have income that is sufficient for an apartment, you coach that person to get into better employment.
And so we work with them. Part of our program is saving money, and so
financial skills and
absolutely, and saving the money.
Have never had bank accounts, so
wow,
going to the bank,
isn't that amazing?
Because banks just don't give accounts to people if they've got some negative impacts on their credit. So it takes someone to be a stand for, to ask another person, the bank, to give them a chance to create a bank account and start putting money away.
And do you have classes, or how do you distribute that information?
We have classes. We provide classes, and that's one of the things we're looking forward to working with Mark on, is the renter readiness. Part of our curriculum. Financial literacy. Again, we work and have classes on that in our home. We also invite people from outside of our home to take these classes as well. But one of the things that we like about it is that it's done on site, so that the women who are in our program and living with us they don't have to worry about trying to find the childcare or whatever it may be, so that they can go to a class. So we really promote that as much. And then Monique, who's our executive director, who's absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
And without Monique, we would not have this program. She sits down with each of the women, and it's really individual. You have to look at each person individually and then work with them to have them decide how they're going to structure their lives, but you can guide them through that. So it's putting together a savings account, and and she's got this program that she works with. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but you save enough money, you save a certain amount of money every month, and that ups your credit. It reports you the credit companies, and so that helps increase their credit scores. We've had some of our mothers have raised their credit scores over 300 points. It's been incredible. We've had mothers get their own businesses, start their own businesses, cleaning company and a catering company. And we help set them up so that they know the right way to go about doing things, and it's been pretty incredible to see what a difference it makes. And because they're doing it themselves, we're just giving them the tools. You can see how the dignity that it brings to them and how they feel empowered, because that's really, our mission is empowering women and children in our community to thrive.
Right, and so much of those problems are solved with information, aren't they? So it's a lack of knowledge and information. So I heard you mention the Landlord Liaison Program's Renters Readiness Program, which is a mouthful. But Landlord Liaison Program is another program that Mark's involved in that helps, works in collaboration with landlords to help them help more people, is how I think of it. And so Mark teaches a class. He's completely shy about his involvement with them. I had to ask someone else. I had to ask someone who worked at Landlord Liaison Program what it is that Mark did for them, because I could never get a straight bragging answer out of Mark. So Mark teaches a course, the Renters Readiness, which just takes people through the steps of being ready to be able to sign a lease. And he's been involved in that for some time in the community. So I can see how those programs, there's a collaborative effort there between the different programs in the community.
And the one thing I wanted to add about the culture, because I've had an opportunity to present a portion of the Renters Readiness Certification and working with LLP and with you in the industry, is that if you have an opportunity to visit and find out more, it's not just a place where moms go to like start a new life. It's an absolute culture. They're immersed in a lifestyle it's like a 6-month minimum, right?
Some could be smaller. It just depends on their needs.
So it's a significant
up to
time.
24 months if you're pregnant and you need that extra time. Clearly, we want to get people into their own housing as soon as possible, but we want to make sure that they're ready for it. And that takes a long time, especially if you're working on some pretty big issues.
And that's what's so great, is that culture is a constant presence. So it's not like they go to a place and do some class for a couple hours and then go back to an environment. They just are still in that environment with other moms with children or children coming. So it's a constant presence of what's up, what are you playing, what game are you playing, and what steps are you taking to spike the ball at the end of the game.
So this is, again, Kathryn with the Next Chapter. They help single moms and pregnant moms reintegrate into being able to rent or buy a home or move forward in life. And so, Kathryn, do you provide housing? Sorry if this is an obvious question, but are you providing housing to these moms and a community where they live?
We we have one home and we have 5 bedrooms, and so we provide a shelter
for some of them
to live. Yes.
Okay. And so
ideally, as we grow, we would love to have a community where we have a housing that we can provide and transition them to.
20 spaces.
So you're growing,
Absolutely.
You want to grow the number of spaces that you have.
Absolutely.
And
because there's a need.
Yeah.
There's absolutely a need. We have a waiting list. There's a need. There are pregnant women out there living on the street or in their cars. There are mothers with children who have to go to school, and they are living in their car or on the street, and there is a need.
Yeah. So you have so many spots now, and obviously an endless amount of spots. But so, which brings in your need for support, and obviously some of that is monetary. And so, I know you made a significant donation, Mark. Are you making an annual support of them? Are you, in what ways are you helping Next Chapter?
That's a great question. It's because we really haven't had a further conversation about that, but it is a constant presence. That it's not only financial; it's also time and energy and knowledge.
Yeah.
So anybody who has anything in the realm of credit development, financial planning, education in trades or interviewing and employment, parenting, house cooking and cleaning. It's almost like why wouldn't that be? And for some people, it's not a normal that this is what is part of doing.
Right. And not everybody grew up learning how to cook or
It's a cycle.
balancing a checkbook or.
Well, and that's one of the things that we do. Everybody it's very structured, our program is, and everybody's accountable to each other, and it's a group environment, and they support each other. It's not always rosy, but
Life isn't.
no, it's not. It's challenging, but everybody has their day to do laundry. Everybody they sit down and plan meals together, weekly meals. You're encouraged to go to the grocery store once a week and manage your money and buy your own groceries. The only thing that we really ask for, in addition to funding, is always helpful, but food-wise, we really encourage our families to take the money that they have and buy their own food. So we look for like household supplies, like cleaning supplies, toilet paper, towels, blankets, pillows. Those types of things are always helpful. And
You
what
can
Mark
find
was
toilet paper
going,
now.
Yeah, finally.
not life, so
So-
it's kinda hard. But what Mark
So
was
things that
speaking
are
to-
required by life, just
Yeah.
the phantom,
But-
have a
and-
family
and
life, sure.
for the home itself. And Mark you were talking about any kind of skills that people
Yeah.
have. If you step back and think, okay, what is my skill? What could I bring to the table? It could be anything. We would love to have an accountant. We need that
Yeah.
kind of service. If somebody could donate or discount a rate, criminal attorneys, who can help us if somebody's got some kind of record and we need to get that taken care of. Things like that.
So do you have
we
five-
need to build a fence.
So-
We need a fence right now
Just
because
practical.
we're right off of Pacific. We just
Yeah.
moved, and we got 10 kids in the house, and
Yeah.
Pacific is not
Not the friendliest place. I was going to ask you, so you're in the Tacoma community,
Yes,
and you have 5 people in the program now, or you're housing 5 families?
5 families.
Okay, and you're wanting to extend that, but you also offer services to people that are not living there
Correct.
as part of your programs, like the renter's readiness that Mark teaches and things like that. Got
Correct.
it. Okay.
We also, with COVID, it's been a bit challenging. We had to move out of our previous location because they needed to occupy the house for COVID reasons, for their purposes. And so we've just moved into our new place. And so it's been hard to be able to work with people outside of our program, but we still have that list. And once things calm down a little bit, we'll be starting to engage again.
Got it. Okay, very good. So how long has your organization been around, and how many people do you think you've impacted in the community?
We've been around since we filled out the paperwork and everything in May of 2018.
19 or 18?
18.
18, uh-huh.
And then we started helping folks soon thereafter. And then we got our first house where we were able to house mothers in February of 19. So we kind of jumped out there before we even had a place. But you know what? We knew that this is what we had to do based on our experience. We worked with Catholic Community Services because that's how we all came about, was through a program that Catholic Community Services had. And we found that there was a people in our community that were not being served, that we felt like we could step in and help. We didn't want to duplicate anything that already existed, but rather help. And so we toured the state. We looked at everything from Mary's Place up in Seattle over to Spokane in a fabulous program called Transitions. And I would say that's where we're more aligned with. And then worked with a fabulous person, Nick Leiter at Catholic Community Services. He counseled us for probably 3 or 4 months as we really dug deep to find out what we were going to do. And numerous other people helped us out. And then we felt like we were ready. So we took the jump and started.
Wow, what a great story.
And we'd served over 40 families in that time, which is really quite remarkable. Given
It
that
is
we all
very
been at the
remarkable.
house since,
Yeah.
about
A short time.
a little over a year ago.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Well, super fun and good to meet you. Good to see you, Mark, as well. And I know we could go on forever. It just sounds amazing. I'm sure you have stories of individual families that you've touched and changed, and it would just be amazing to learn more,
Well, we do have a website that people could go to.
which I was going to ask you.
nextchapterwa.com.
Uh-huh.
And you will see, you can read our stories, you can learn how to donate, and learn more about us. You can also reach us at nextchapterwa@gmail.com. And
Is there a phone number or no?
yes, 253 425 5516.
Got
and
it.
that is the fabulous Monique, our executive director.
Yep.
Wow, sounds good. Well, nice to visit with both of you. Again, this is Kathryn with Next Chapter and Mark Melsness of
Yep.
Spinnaker Property
Any
Management.
questions you have, you can also contact me too.
Yep.
And I just want to thank Mark and Spinnaker and everything that you guys have done for us. So excited about this partnership and just so proud to
Yeah.
be with you guys because you're such a fabulous company.
It's
person
absolutely our
and-
honor.
No, thank
Our
you.
honor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good to visit with both of you. Thank you.
All right,
All right,
thanks.
take care. Bye.
Bye bye.